From a vantage point like this in Carman Hill, you can just pick out a well-known man-made feature in the Firth of Clyde. Off Ardmore Point, the sugar boat has lain stranded there on a sandbank since 1974. The real name of the boat is the MV Captiyannis, and we're about to go out for a much closer look.
It's hard to imagine in quite a calm day like this, the low's quite grey, that there can be big storms in the Clyde, but there can be. And it was then one of those storms hit here the 27th of January 1974, and it was that night that the Captiyannis got into big trouble.
Moored off the town of Greenock at a place known as the Tail of the Bank, she was all set to unload her cargo of raw sugar when she began to drift. Having set sail from Lourenço Marquês de Portuguese in East Africa to the Tate and Lyle refinery at James Watt Dock here on the Clyde estuary, the winds were finally beginning to get the better of her. Her captain, Theodorakis Ionis, realised that she was dragging her anchor and decided to take action. He restarted her engines and set a course for much deeper and safer water up in the Gairloch. But before he could get far, the Captiyannis ran straight into the anchor chains of a massive BP tanker called the British Light. A great shudder told Theodorakis that the ship had been badly damaged. Her pumps couldn't cope with the influx of water coming through the tear on her port side, and soon the boat was plunged into darkness. Theodorakis saw that the ship was bearing eastward, caught in the grip of a strong westerly gale, so he used what power and manoeuvrability he had left to guide her onto a sandbank, here about a mile off Craigendoran. By now, a little flotilla of local boats has sped out to the rescue. Amongst these were the tug Labrador and the Clyde Marine Motoring's 20-metre passenger vessel, Rover. Thankfully, they managed to get Theodorakis and his crew to safety. Any hopes of repairing the stranded sugar boat were dashed when the gale subsided and the tides fell. The 12-foot drop in water level meant that the sugar boat tilted and then toppled over onto her side. Stuck fast by the muddy bank and a muddle of litigation around salvage rights, the sugar boat has lain here for over 50 years. To us, a notable point of interest. To the birds and wildlife around Ardmore Point, the sugar boat has become a wildlife haven. So I'm looking just now, and there's a good 50 cormorants sitting in the sugar boat, and a grey seal just popped its head up a minute ago as well. So a bit of a haven for wildlife. And cormorants need to dry their wings before they can fly again once they've been diving. They get waterlogged, and a perfect place to dry your wings. Left for so long because she lies in a fairly safe spot out of the main shipping lanes, it's only the smaller boats that frequent these waters and the occasional seal or whale that has to navigate round her rotting hull. It's hard to see where that anchor chain cut through her hull, and many of her fittings have been stripped out over the years, but it's impossible to miss the now familiar outline of this once great seafaring ship that travelled the world for over 25 years. This once great lady was launched from a Danish shipyard on the 15th of June 1946. Almost 400 feet long, her tonnage was over 4,500, and her 6-cylinder diesel engine delivered an impressive 2,300 brake horsepower. Taken over by a Greek company in 1963, she carried cargo for another 11 years before finding her final resting place. I say final, but who knows? The legal ramifications that litter the case of the Captiyannis still wrangle on. Perhaps she'll be cut up and taken away for scrap one day. On the other hand, it's much more likely that she'll stay here, part of the Helensburgh heritage and a home to the many birds and creatures that inhabit her hulking remains.